Bruh, do you even skip? All right, fellas, before we jump into today's video, I want to show you guys that I can actually skip, okay? I have 3 different cameras set up, one in the rear to show you guys my form. I got one here at the console so you guys can see the release, and I have another one on the trolling motor so you guys can see that I'm trying to stay low to the surface of the water. I want you guys to take a look at the boat position as well. You know, I like to either be head on with my target or on somewhat of an angle like I am right now. You know, I'm casting right-handed, so on the back cast I don't want to be smacking the boat, smacking the console, so I like the rear of the boat off to my left just a little bit, which gives me a little more clearance on the back cast. All right, fellas, if that doesn't make you a believer in a DC reel, nothing will. If you guys have not seen my video review on the Curado DC, definitely check that out. I'll link it down below. But between that video and this video, I mean, you guys should be a believer in this platform. It truly is impressive. So, I mean, that I do believe that is a big deal as far as how good I can skip this reel right here. I mean, I can skip with others, but not nearly as good as I do with the DC right here. Okay, as far as the rod goes, you want something with some tip. This is the Okuma TCS Martin APC. It's in a 7-foot. It's a medium heavy with a mod fast action to it. So again, it's not a heavy power, it's a medium heavy power. So the rod is somewhat soft the way it is, and then it leads into a mod fast action. So again, it has that softer tip to it, which on the back cast allows the rod to load up much easier, and it kind of like slingshots the bait. Okay, that's really what you're looking for. If your rod is too stiff, you're not going to be able to do that as easily. The rod's not going to help you out. It's actually going to hurt you. So you want that softer rod to help you load that bait and slingshot it forward. Okay, so a soft rod is critical. Now, as far as line goes, typically I do not skip with anything less than 15. Now, keep in mind, once you get up to 17 and 20, it's a bigger line, more memory. It wants to jump off the spool a little bit more. So sometimes you do have a bit of a headache with that bigger line. If you guys can see, that spool is probably 3/16 down at least. If you guys can see that, I'd say 3/16. So knowing that I skip majority of the time with this reel, I don't put a ton of line on it. Again, the more line you have on there, the more headaches you're going to have, especially with skipping. So maybe if you're trying to make super long casts, cranking, things like that, you want your spool full. But on a deal like this, when you're trying to skip, I feel a little bit less line is better. But as far as the braking system goes, I do have that on 4, which is the max brakes. And as far as how tight I have the tension knob, really what you want on this type of reel, you want 0 play in the spool. The more play you have, that affects the braking system. So again, what you're looking for is 0 play. Once you have 0 play, the tension knob is pretty much good to go, and I leave it. I don't mess with it. So again, for skipping, I keep it on 4 and I'm good to go. So we talked about reel, we talked about rod, we talked about line. You guys pretty much seen my form. You know, you want to start low and end high. You don't want to start and kind of stop in the middle. You got to think as the bait is hitting the water, okay, I guess you could say it's starting to slow down as it hits the water, but your spool is still spinning fast. So when you follow through or follow up, you're actually helping out the cast because you're taking up some line, if you guys can imagine that. You know, when you're you know, at the creek or the river or lake or whatever, and you're trying to skip a rock, you don't take it and just go like that. You follow through. Again, that's what you want to do when you're skipping. On the back cast, stay low, finish high, follow through. And you don't want too much line down. I mean, really as much as you can handle. You know, 8 or 10 inches I feel is really good. Any more than that, you're going to end up smacking the water from the jump. Now, as far as the bait goes, I mean, I believe really a fluke and a Senko are probably the best two baits to skip around. Again, if you're going to go to a jig or something like that, more of a flat bottom type jig, like an Arky style jig, and this of plastic that, again, that doesn't have too much going on, more of a flat bottom, which will help you skip the bait. You don't want to go too heavy. Normally on a jig, quarter, 3/8, sometimes half, but I mean, once you start getting up in weight, then you got to be a little bit better with the skip, you know what I'm saying? But a lighter weight will actually help you skip if everything else is set up correctly. You know, heavier weight's going to want to dig into the water more and all that, or something lighter just kind of glides across the surface. So from there, it's all about form. And I'm just using this a little 5/0. That's a Mustad screw lock, and that's another tip right there. I like the screw lock just because I feel it holds the bait on a bit better. 5/0 Mustad screw lock. That's only a little 1/16 ounce weight. Of course, you can do it weightless, and I can do it with an 1/8 just fine as well. But again, I do like the 1/16 just to give me just a tad more weight, but it doesn't really hinder the bait on the cast. It's not too much weight to where it's digging in, you know, to the water. Well, guys, that pretty much should wrap it up. We talked about, you know, how I have the boat positioned, you know, form, release, reel, line, rod, baits. I mean, that pretty much should do it. But to be honest, guys, there's really nothing that's going to help you more than time on the water. So get out as much as you can, practice, and you will become a better skipper. But I tell you what, man, I got to give a lot of credit to that DC reel right there, man. If you guys can afford one, I want to say they're $249, something like that. You guys can use my code over there at Tackle Inc., and you guys can get 10% off, TJ81, 10% off over there at Tackle Inc. I'll link that down below. But I tell you what, it truly is an awesome reel. Love the platform. Like I said in my review, it's not a very comfortable reel, but for skipping, I don't believe there's a better reel out on the market. So guys, definitely check them out. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Smash the thumbs up. We will see you guys on the next one.